welcome back to your safe place. I'm really glad you're here. Today, I want to explore an idea that I think many of us experience but rarely stop to examine. It's one of those things that quietly shapes our decisions, influences our fears, and sometimes keeps us stuck without us even realizing it. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, experiences, and perspectives in the comments because these conversations become much more interesting when different voices are part of them. So wherever you're listening from, take a moment to get comfortable and let's talk about the art of starting over and why it might be far more difficult and far more important than most people think. Most people think that starting over is difficult because it requires courage, but courage isn't usually the problem. The real problem is much deeper. Human beings are not attached to places, jobs, relationships, or routines as much as they are attached to the identities those things create. Over time, we stop seeing our choices as choices. We start seeing them as who we are. A career becomes an identity. A relationship becomes an identity. Even a struggle can become an identity. And once something becomes part of the way we define ourselves, letting it go feels less like making a decision and more like losing a part of ourselves. This is why so many people stay in situations that no longer make sense. Not because they enjoy them, not because they believe in them, but because leaving would force them to confront a difficult question. If I am no longer this person, then who am I? The human brain dislikes unanswered questions. It prefers certainty, even painful certainty, over uncertainty. In psychology, there is a phenomenon known as cognitive consistency. People naturally seek alignment between their beliefs, actions, and self-image. When reality changes but identity remains the same, tension appears. Instead of changing their identity, many people choose to ignore reality. They continue walking down paths they no longer believe in, simply because turning around would create psychological discomfort. The strange thing is that this discomfort is often mistaken for a sign that we're making the wrong decision. In reality, discomfort is frequently the evidence that change is necessary. Growth and identity rarely evolve at the same speed. Sometimes a person outgrows a life long before they realize it. They wake up one day feeling disconnected from everything around them and assume something is wrong. But perhaps nothing is wrong. Perhaps they have simply become someone different. The problem is that society praises consistency more than awareness. We admire people who never change their minds, who stay committed to the same path for decades, who remain predictable. Yet some of the most important decisions in life begin with admitting that a previous decision no longer serves you. There is wisdom in persistence, but there is also wisdom in departure. Knowing the difference is one of the hardest skills a person can develop. Many people spend years defending choices that no longer reflect who they are because they fear that changing direction will make their past meaningless. This fear is closely related to what psychologists call the sunk cost fallacy. The more time, effort, emotion, and energy we invest into something, the more difficult it becomes to abandon it. We begin treating previous investments as reasons to continue, even when continuation creates more suffering. Imagine climbing a mountain and realizing halfway through that you're on the wrong mountain. Logic suggests that turning back is the correct choice, yet many people continue climbing simply because they have already come so far. They become more committed to justifying the past than improving the future. This pattern appears everywhere. People remain in careers they dislike because they spent years studying for them. They remain in relationships that no longer work because they invested too much emotion to leave. They maintain dreams that stopped belonging to them years ago because abandoning them feels like admitting failure. But there is an important difference between failure and evolution. Failure is when something doesn't work. Evolution is when something no longer fits. Unfortunately, the brain often confuses the two. It interprets every ending as evidence of failure, even when the ending is a sign of growth. A tree does not consider old leaves a failure when they fall. The leaves were necessary for a season. Then the season changed. Human beings struggle because we expect permanence from things that were only meant to serve a temporary purpose. We expect old versions of ourselves to remain relevant forever. Yet life is a continuous process of adaptation. The person you needed to become at 18 may not be the person you need to become at 30. The mindset that protected you during one chapter may limit you in the next. What once served as a solution can eventually become a prison. This is why reinvention is less about creating a new self and more about removing outdated definitions. Most people spend their lives asking what they should add: more skills, more discipline, more confidence, more knowledge. But sometimes transformation happens through subtraction, letting go of beliefs that no longer reflect reality, letting go of expectations that belong to other people, letting go of identities built from fear rather than truth. The challenge is that the brain interprets familiarity as safety. Something does not need to be good to feel safe. It only needs to be familiar. This explains why people often return to situations